imposing such kind of various typical particular types of the living way. Especially women can't live as she wants to do. Also, for this is a problematic situation. So that's why we propose this motion. So today, the government target is not the women who already find their living way by their own, such as food rights, gossip, or so forth. Our target is the women who were affected by the media and who was forcefully restricted their choice that she has to be beauty and she has to be femininity, or so forth. So these kinds of women who are affected by media is our target, which we want to save. So today, as a Prime Minister, I have two things to talk about. Firstly, no thank you, when we can restrict companies' right to advertise for their profit. Secondly, after taking this plan, women's choice can be much more freely, or so forth. But before that, I want to clarify some points. So the beauty and femininity, it means that such as white skin or slim body or high nose or something like that, or a long leg or so forth. And femininity means that a lady-like attitude, such as she is not so aggressive, or she has to be as a household or so forth. These kinds of things is a stereotype, beauty, and femininity. And commercial means that advertisement, which is existence in every kind of magazines or TV or internet, or so forth. We ban all kinds of things after taking this plan. But before moving on to my argument, yes.
Before commercials, like women still bought makeup, they still wanted to wear clothing, they still wanted to look attractive. So what kind of problem are you trying to solve?
So we are not restrict the individual choice to be attractive or individual choice to be beauty or so forth. We believe that commercial is a way which is imposing to all the people. This is so harmful, that's why we beg to propose this motion. So first argument, when we can restrict companies' right or so forth. So of course we have to respect the company or individual right, the freedom of speech or so forth, and especially in this motion, or of course we believe that company should have the right to make to get advertisement, to get profit or so forth. But because we believe that this particular way is harmful, when that kind of way is harmful, we can restrict such kind of advertisement. For example, in the case under the status quo, companies can't say that the tobacco is a good thing, because even though the government is allowing this kind of thing, government is disincentivizing these kinds of tobacco or so forth by sin tax or so forth, because smoking is so harmful to our health or so forth, and because incentivize means that it is harmful to the people. So that's why under the status quo, government is banning all the companies to say that tobacco is a good thing, because if they say that tobacco is a good thing, all the people irrationally choose, oh, tobacco is good and I want to smoke, and this is harmful to their health. So that's why this should be avoidable situation. This should be avoid the situation. That's why government is restrict that kind of right. This is also same cases, because also we respect the companies ad such as to buy and to make people buy also. But because especially in this case, the commercial which promote stereotype norms is that making women's choice more restricted, or forcing these kind of women to choose, and women are forcefully choosing that they have to be beauty, or they have to get cosmetic surgery, or they have to use a typical part of cosmetic thing or so forth. This is a problematic thing, and because their harm is existing, we can restrict such kind of information, even though art is important. Move on to the second argument. After taking this plan, no thank you, women's choice could be freely. So under the status quo, women have to follow stereotype, even though that kind of living way is that she don't want to take. Why is that? Because firstly, how the norm is created by these kinds of media. 4 reasons, 4 analysis. 1, what is the commercial is that firstly, all the people is watching this kind of thing since they are child, means that their identity is created based on these kinds of stereotype commercial or so forth. Secondly, we can see these kinds of commercial everywhere, and we are surrounded by these kind of commercial. For example, in the case we are getting into the train, or we are watching the TV, or we are reading a magazine, or using a smartphone, or so forth. So we are every kind of surrounded, and because we are surrounded by this kind of information, we could be easily knowing and imprinting such kind of information. Thirdly, because this is not active, because this kind of commercial is not active watching thing, because we are passively and forcefully watching this kind of thing. For example, in the case of news, we are just when we are eating dinner, we're just watching the news. But even if we don't want to watch such kind of commercial, because we're just watching the news during the dinner, we have to passively watching this kind of thing. Fourthly, this kind of commercial is incentivized us to, you have to follow that kind of way. If you, this kind of commercial is that if you buy these kinds of goods, or if you buy this kind of cosmetic, you can be much more nicer or so forth. So based on full analysis, or since all people at the time, the identity was created based on, no, think I already take one. So they have to, all the people have the minds that or impose that they have to obey that beauty is a good thing, or femininity is a good thing to all the people. So on this basis, why under the status quo is so harmful to because women can't choose what they want to do. Why is that? Because all the people think that beauty is a bit good thing. For example, even if there is a woman who likes a gothic or punk or so forth, because when she knows that, or since they are a child, and she was surrounded with the beauty or the white skin is a good thing, she can't wear such a gothic or punk thing. And if there is a man is existent she like, and in order to get along with such kind of man, she have to treat it, she have to get more nicer as the commercial is doing, even if she don't want to change their high nose or so forth, because this is given by the parents, because she wants to get along with such kind of man, because also the man is thinking that the beauty is a good thing. In order to get along with, she could take the cosmetic surgery, even if she doesn't want to take such kind of surgery. This is a so harmful situation, because women's choice, even if she don't want such kind of action, she was forcefully doing so. So under the status quo, because their choice is restricted, and forcefully the women is so oppressed by these kinds of, no. After taking this plan, what kind of situation could be happen? Because individual can choose their lifestyle by their own, by their own. This could be much more relief for the women, because they are not forcing by the media, but because they can choose by their own. This is so much beneficial situation for all the women. So for these reasons, I strongly believe that we should take this also. Thank you.
Women, such special people that we are, such special gender that we have, ladies and gentlemen, but we, as the opposition itself, think that they're not stupid, ladies and gentlemen, think that they are self-confident, they are capable enough to actually bring themselves up to the society on the current times, and we think that makeup itself, all the commercials that are being posed, is basically just practically a choice. It does not, these commercials do not enslave you in making this sort of idea of absolutism that you have to actually procure this makeup to make sure that you're beautiful. They can choose to do so and they can choose not to. And we think that women nowadays are rational enough to make that decision whether they want to be better of themselves or not. This is not about covering their flaws. These commercials, they exist in the first instance of making them just a better version of themselves, but not to cover or posing all these insecurities or whatnot in the first place. And that's why we're posing on that. Two things that's wrong with their stance, ladies and gentlemen. We talk about on the point of commercials and also the restrictions itself. So all they think is that these commercials are absolute. Whenever you post out all these commercials, whatever you're going to do, that they are solely to actually follow. As if that these women, that is a form of dictating a government that dictates what women have to do. Basically, these commercials, it's just an avenue, and which women are capable enough to actually think of what they should do and whatnot. It's just an avenue for them to actually make that choice. You take that away, that is what is dictating, ladies and gentlemen. A government that dictates where they don't even, if you take that avenue away, then how are they going to have that choice in the first place? Taking that choice is a form of discrimination, and that's why we have to put a halt towards it. And also on the point of restrictions, you see, ladies and gentlemen, of how this whole thing is restricted, and we can see all these women not having all this avenue and whatnot. That's why we think it's solely wrong to even begin with. But before that,
Okay, so if women are not feeling shame because of these commercials, then why are like cosmetic companies getting a lot of customers daily?
It's not about them being shameful. It's just for them to actually see as what it's just provided by the product, what the product promises. Because the idea of commercial itself is just to represent whatever that the product does, of how effective the product is. Because as we know, like we just think about Victoria's Secret products that we see, that they have all these models and whatnot. We think it's fine. It's just as long as people even buy those products because it works in the first place. It's just a form of incentive, or it's just a form of marketing ideas that they have that makes it so marketable in the first place. And we see that the success of it is based on those commercials. You take that out, and where is it going to go? And we don't think that it's not on shame. It's more practically on. No, you sit down. It's not practically on about a disgrace towards women when you have all this. So basically, we see that the stereotypes are simply just pushing the excuse, and basically they're actually contradicting themselves in saying that it's a form of dictating. But no, define. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let me talk about clarifying what commercials are. Basically, we see that commercials that they exist in the aim of just promoting the product as well. That's it. It's not about representing that what type of woman you should be and whatnot. That's totally wrong about commercials. You promote your product and that's it. Of how you promote it, it's fine. It's basically in status quo. So we say it's perfectly fine, and we do not need all this banning in the first place. And I'll tell you why it's detrimental in my two arguments. That'll be the company's right to make profit, and also the second point will be on the government should not be dictating on these norms of beauty. Now, but before that, we see that these commercials isn't devastating in a very point. It's just broadcasting it everywhere so that they can see how effective this product is. Under their paradigm, we can't see all these products making up to the market and see how it's going to be better for the companies to actually live up to all this basically marketing competitions outside that decline. So basically, go to my first point, which is the government should not be dictating on the norms of beauty. Ladies and gentlemen, we solely believe that a person can live their life freely and do whatever that they want, that they wish to do up upon their body. You can see that even in abortion cases, that the woman has that right. So basically, we look at it this way. If we go into their paradigm, ladies and gentlemen, we can see that this government, it's sort of protecting, but then again, it's detrimental. Why? I tell you, because they are actually telling you what commercials that they have to run and what not commercials to run. So that is basically telling this woman that you have to do this and you have to do that, a form of dictating. So we think that it's wrong because we think, as I said in my first class, that women are capable, that women nowadays, we can see the movement of feminism and whatnot, having this International Women's Day, that they are capable to decide for themselves. We don't need anybody to govern them. We don't need the government. We don't need that man. We think that women are basically capable enough to do all those decisions, not other companies and stuff. As we say, all this commercial, they're just basically an avenue. Nothing wrong, nothing that's going to impose coerce them to do so. So basically, it's going to think that all these women are weak and whatnot. We think that their factory reasoning is just fine enough to actually be that. So basically, this government is actually putting a standard of beauty on the first level. Second, it defeats the whole purpose of feminism itself, like not restricting all these women on what to do and what not to do. And we think that's a form of oppression that this government is imposing, and they have to prove why that does not defeat the purpose of feminism in the first place, and not a form of dictatorship. Sit down. And second is the company's right to make profit. They concede. They told us that they concede to make profit. But then again, you banning all these commercials in the future to actually begin with and whatnot. We see that these companies, they are profit-based. It's up to their own discretion to actually maximize the profit in whatever they do. They paint the picture. They have the price to paint the picture, or whatever models that they want and whatnot. Because one, it's their right. They pay for it. They acquired that sort of avenue. Second, it's their right. Of how they actually dictate the whole thing, and it's their product for itself, and they know what's the way, what are the ways to actually maximize the profit of their product. Like we see, like Victoria's Secret models that we see nowadays, that it's solely having right at the top of the market. That we see why, because it has its own identity to protect, which is having the super hot models as a representation. Nothing wrong to that for them to represent themselves as a company that really works. In a way, we're not saying that once you wear that, it's going to be totally like those models, but then again, it shows that these products actually have the capability to actually improve, to have a betterment of themselves, these women. That's why people are still insisting in buying them. We have seen no problem towards it, and this market really works. And we say it's their right because they paid for it, they acquired for it, and of them taking away, all these companies will fail, and that is problematic.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Under the status quo, media commercials broadcasting day by day, every day, and women's beauty stereotype emphasize how women should be, what is beauty women. So girls easily get influenced them. So we protect women's choice to choose their own ideal beauty. So that before moving, I have one argument. How after taking this proposal, women choose their own ideal. So that before moving on my argument, I have the couple of rebuttals for the previous speaker has said. Firstly, they say that this plan makes discrimination for women, but under the status quo, more discrimination is here. Like fat women feeling like ugly, women should be keep house. A lot of people mistakenly believe that because they are stereotyped. It is a more harmful discrimination for the women. And the next second is that they say that. Women already have the rational choice, and women have the capacity to rational choice. But it is very assertive argument. If they have a rationality, they have a rational. So after taking this proposal, women can choose too, so that there are no problem after taking this proposal. And not all people have rationality, because the young girls or the young girls are very likely to influenced by TVs or the magazines, like those kinds of things, so that their argument is very assertive. And finally, they say that companies right, and they are mistakenly think that we want to ban all advertisement, but it is not true. We ban the promoted stereotypes, so that they okay.
Is it wrong if those products that they buy work?
So that the ban we want to ban only the promoted women's beauties, promoted women's beauty. What is women's beauty or something like that? Only one way to what is we want to ban is the way. So that they only say it is assertion. It is there are no problem. So that they before. Okay, let's go to my argument. My argument is how after taking this proposal, women can choose their own ideal models. Under the status quo, TV say that white skin is better, kindful and cheerful girls is better, and big eyes is better. Full of promotion stereotypes. It makes model. Women should be. A woman should be beauty, a woman should be kindful. For example, Disney princess are weak, and beauty, and the princess helps them. The models of young girls is those princesses are likely to become models, and the young girls want to be a princess. We can and help is better, and woman only waiting for prince is better, so that it makes girls behavior strict. But after taking this proposal, TV commercials don't promote those kinds of stereotypes. You can find your own beauty, and what is criteria is after taking plan is the how others think, not how others think you, but how you feel. You can choose your own feel. You can choose you want to be. And after taking this plan, there are no models. No models by commercial. Those kinds of stereotypes is gradually disappear, and commercials make a diversity. So no promoted commercials. Women don't show the same models, the same ideas. Women have their own ideas. Under the status quo, a lot of girls irrationally choose the stereotype ideal model by imprinting by the commercials. So so after taking this plan, girls choose their own ideal. They can behave their own ideal, their own ideal. Girls have the self-controls free from the stereotypes model, and by the nothing to the promote those kinds of stereotypes. So after taking this plan, girls don't control by media. What is important is that they can choose their own ideal model, and women can independence by media and independence by stereotype norms. So that what is important is this, so that after taking this proposal, women can independent by media and stereotypes. It makes women's independence. But so because women irrationally choose the model, like model under the status quo, women choose irrational model, stereotype model. But after taking this plan, those kinds of social norm is disappear, and women can choose their own ideal, and they can choose they can independent by media. So after taking this proposal, girls become the more self controls, and the not only girls but boys see that boys feel the boys don't think about the social models, social norms. So that after taking this plan, the woman can independent by the stereotypes. Thank you.
Characterization of advertisements are really weird. They make it sound like if I watch one advertisement of a Lamborghini car, I cannot buy any other car except for that Lamborghini, and I'm forever dictated by that choice and that advertisement. We don't think that's how advertisements work. We don't think that's what advertisements are for. In fact, ultimately what we argue is that these advertisements are there to fulfill a need that these women have, just like any other product, and ultimately it's okay for companies to sell you things that make you feel beautiful if women want to feel beautiful, right? So let's look at what they argued first. First of all, they had this really simplistic argument of how our advertisements are really persuasive, therefore it restricts women's choices. First of all, we don't think that the characterization of advertisements are really persuasive. Flight, because we think that's in the exact opposite of what advertisements do. Like not in the sense that advertisements are not supposed to be persuasive, but advertisements are not there to make you feel insecure or bad about yourself. There is no advertisement out there that goes there and says, hey, you're ugly. No. What these advertisements do tell you are things like this will make your hair straight or this will make your hair curly. And then it's up to the choice of these women to follow the suggestions whether or not they want their hair to be curly based on what they feel is beautiful, right? But secondly, women are not forced ultimately to wear anything. Like women can, if women want to wear modest, regardless of what these commercials tell them, these women can wear modestly. These women can wear whatever they ultimately want to. In fact, thirdly, what we argue is that you restrict choice. Because you know what you're telling these women? The government is ultimately telling these women that they're not allowed to be conventionally beautiful. Or they're not allowed, like what my first speaker is arguing, that these men have to protect these women because they're so weak and they feel so insecure. And we think that's ultimately harmful for the feminist movement, right? But even if commercials do tell you that you're ugly bias, which we don't think any commercial tells that, right? There's so much counter discourse in society to negate that. So it ultimately, like, it's not harmful. Like there's Disney Channel telling you to be who you are, etc., etc. We don't think, like, there is no woman out there who is essentially feeling insecure because of these commercials themselves, right? In fact, what I'm going to tell you is how these commercials or how these products are there to make women feel more secure and why it's good to have these products. But secondly, let's, before that, sorry, I'll take you after this, right? But secondly, they said that they want women to be free from stereotypes and they don't want women to be controlled by the media, right? But here's the thing, because you're putting the cart before the horse here. You're still allowing commercials. You're still allowing products to be sold. You're still allowing all forms of advertisements on TV. Therefore, like, what control are you admonishing? Because if you, what, are you trying to say that we want plus size models to be the convention of beauty? Because we don't think there should be any convention of beauty. We don't think the government should dictate any form of beauty, and women should be able to feel how they want to feel, right? We think that we shouldn't dictate stereotypes ourselves. And that's firstly. But secondly, we think that by acknowledging these stereotypes, you cement these stereotypes, right? So any woman who wants to be conventionally beautiful, they're negatively stereotyped as that woman who is insecure about themselves when they're not, right? So that woman might legitimately feel confident looking that way. And we think it's extremely important for a woman to be able to express herself that way. Yes, please. Nothing? Okay, cool. So I'll talk about why commercials are important and how women feel secure. And this, like, it's really important, right? Because we have to answer this question. What are commercials there for? Why are products there for? Because we have to understand that women bought makeup before there were commercials for lipstick. Women wanted to feel attractive before any commercials told them to feel attractive. Therefore, it's not that these commercials are telling them to feel attractive. These commercials are filling in the need for these women to feel secure. So ultimately, what do they do, right? The commercial, what these commercials do is that they fulfill the need of these women to be able to feel conventionally attractive. Because the commercials tells these women, or these commercials are informative. They tell you that if you want, if you're feeling insecure, which, like, whatever these women are feeling, or if you want to feel beautiful, which these women already want to feel, independent of commercials, therefore you can come to us. So it makes women feel more secure. Now they know that they can walk around like feeling like Beyonce or Kate Upton because they know that that makeup works. But secondly, because, like, women buy makeup because they believe that it works. So therefore, once they bought the product, it makes them feel secure about themselves, regardless of whatever anybody else is telling you, right? Like, women feel secure in their makeup, just like I feel secure wearing this green polo shirt, right? Like, it's not inherently a bad thing that society tells you to look a certain way is inherently bad, right? Like, it's not bad to tell people that if they work out, you'll be more attractive because working out is healthy. Like, similarly, it's not bad to tell women that if they want to look beautiful, then they can have not messy hair or straight hair. That's what makeup does to you, or that's what makeup helps you do, right? Like, yeah, that. Okay. So secondly, how does it make women feel more secure? And my second idea about how women essentially have the right to feel beautiful, right? Okay. Number one, because women believe that they believe that they're confident being conventionally attractive, right? Because women believe that conventional attractiveness is how they will be the most self-confident in society. That's why women, number one, wear makeup even for other women, not necessarily to impress men. But women will wear makeup like even in the house, at home, wherever, right? Why do these women do that? It's because they believe that their self-image is important to them. And that means that when they allow, when you disallow commercials or these products from doing it, right? These women have no standard in society, or these women have no way to assess how it is they want to feel beautiful. Like, for example, if a woman wants to feel beautiful by having curly hair or straight hair, or if a woman wants to follow the normative values of society because a woman wants to feel wanted, there's absolutely no way to do that because they don't have commercials to show them how exactly it is she wants to do that, right? So what happens when you ban these commercials? You make these women feel more insecure because the need to feel beautiful will always be there regardless of whether these commercials exist or not. So that's how you make women feel more insecure, because they have absolutely no, like, they don't know if they're, they don't know if what they're doing is right or not, right? So yeah. Here's what I told you today, right? First of all, advertisements don't brainwash us into becoming like slaves towards that advertisement. Secondly, they have a really simplistic argument, and the second speaker rehashed the first speaker, and women's choices are not restricted. I'm very proud to.
On our side of the house, we believe that if a woman wants a curly hair, she can get one. But it doesn't need to be something based on commercials, right? If she really truly wants it, she wouldn't be affected of whether or not the commercials actually say it is actually good or not for them, right? It wouldn't matter to them, or like based on how they characterize women being rational towards commercials right now, means that even if they're not going to be affected by such advertisements, right? But in the end, they keep on talking about that these people actually need those advertisements. For what reason? They never told us for what reason they actually need them. But furthermore, they never actually denied the whole thing that we were trying to promote today. We're saying that promotion of stereotypical norms of beauty and femininity is bad for women in general, right? The only thing that they talked about is that, well, commercials are good, or like companies need to be able to sell their products in the first place, or like women should have their own choice, right? We concede to all of this. We concede to all of this because these things don't even harm our argument in any sense. They never actually deny the arguments that we actually have given to you today, because the main thing that we are talking about today on our side of the house is that these women are feeling shamed because of like how, like for example, if L'Oreal shows you a commercial of like what an ideal hair is and you can't actually get that, then that makes you then actually says and actually makes you feel that you are bad, right? It actually makes you feel that you are less of a being like anything but beautiful in the current status quo. If like Avon all of a sudden says like or like imposes this model in front of the television, no, that there's this really white person, like for example Nina Dobrev or something, they show her in the TV using their product, saying that, oh, if you use our products you can be as white as her, or like you can be as beautiful as her, right? What we're trying to say is that these commercials are saying to these women what kind of person is ideal, what kind of figure is ideal, and what kind of person is the one that you should become to. Otherwise, if you're not looking like that person, you're not beautiful. That's what these commercials are talking about, and that's a point that they never engaged to today, which was a point that was uniquely given by my two partners today, Madam Speaker. This is why we believe that they feel on their side of the house. What our side of the house was trying to do is something I would like to clarify even more. On our side of the house, we are more than glad and more than happy to actually have women to not feel shamed just because of how they were actually born, because that's not their choice, right? No. In fact, we want them to be happy. We want them to be happy with what they already are, right? We want them to feel happy of how they actually look like, not because of how they look like, not because of their skin color, not because of where they were born, or not because of their race. We want them to be happy because they are who they are, and we on our side of the house can actually attain this goal by actually removing all of these commercials, because there won't be anyone or anything that is going to tell them that they are not beautiful because because you are not looking like this specific person in general, right, Madam Speaker? This is why we believe that we already take this debate from this point. Now, what I'm going to do today is I'm going to talk about three things. I'm going to talk about why this is principally okay in the first place, why we can actually regulate commercials, which was spoken by by our first speaker. Next, we're going to talk to you about how commercials actually make people irrational, Mr. and Madam Speaker. Next, and finally, I'm going to talk to you about the actual harm that exists in our current society, another point that they have engaged to. So, having said that, I'm going to move on to my first comparison. So, in this debate today, we've given you two principles. One, why this is not akin to actually invading someone's freedom of speech in the first place, because we said that we're banning the form of like being able to distribute information, which is the mass media. We're banning them to actually have these commercials. That's not like banning freedom of speech at all. It's not like they can't advertise anymore in the current status quo. They can still advertise. They just can't use the media anymore. They just can't use commercials anymore with models that are imposing people an ideal figure, right? That's the point that we take today, because that's the point that they never engaged to. They kept on just saying, oh, people can still use commercials, right? They can use commercials for as long as the only point of that commercial is to tell how the product actually works, right? That's the main point that we were trying to argue today. We're not telling these people that they can't advertise their products anymore. We're telling them that they can, they just can't use the model, right? So that's a harm that doesn't exist on our side of the house. Next, they never engaged with like the media's principle of how it is ideal, right? So that means they concede to the actual fact that in the current status quo, there is this problem that says to women that if you're not like this ideal person that we show in the TV, or like this model that we show on the TV, then that means you're not beautiful. Now, what's happening in the media in the current status quo, like what was explained by my partner, is that these people are told that there is this specific figure, that there is this specific hairstyle, that there is this specific skin color that you need to have in order to be recognized as beautiful in the current status quo. This is a harm that we can uniquely fix on our side of the house, Madam and Mr. Speaker. So this is why we take this first point. Next, I'm going to talk about how actually the people become irrational towards these such commercials. Now, what happens is that when they actually see these commercials, like what they said, these companies actually want to sell these products, right? No, thank you. They want to actually sell it. So I can't understand on how these products are actually going to sell without them actually saying to these women that, okay, without this, you're not going to be beautiful, right? Because of these products uniquely saying that without this product, you're not going to be beautiful, is actually making these women insecure in the first place, right? Meaning that what they're trying to say, that because of these products, they're feeling secure in the first place, is not right. It means that because of the existence of these commercials in the first place, that they actually tell them that without this, you're not going to be beautiful, you're not going to be realized as someone who's beautiful in the current status quo, is the actual factor that actually makes them feel insecure in the first place. So if we can actually cut such a thing that exists in the current status quo, we believe that we can actually make these women feel better, right? But before I move on to my third point, I'll take your PY. Okay, so moving on to my final point, the actual harm that we talked about today. So, okay. They talked about this harm that says, okay, for the actual company, there's going to be harm to the company because they're not going to be able to sell anymore, right? Okay, first of all, that's not a harm that exists on our side of the house, because we're not banning selling products itself. But furthermore, we say that, okay, even if that happens, they never said how and why the company's like profit is much more superior to that of how oppressed women will actually feel, right? They never actually gave us a comparison on that point. So that is a point that we cannot consider today in this debate. Next, the harm that we actually push in the current status quo is that these people can't feel beautiful because of such advertisements in the first place, because they're actually labeled in a different way, or like beauty is being labeled by these commercials in general, and it is broadcasted to everyone. They're going to have this like specific ideal of what beauty is. They're not going to look at themselves in the morning and think that they're beautiful because the media is telling them otherwise. They're not going to think that they're actually beautiful just because of what they look like, or even if without makeup, right? What happens under their paradigm is people need to have makeup all the time in order for them to feel beautiful. People need to have curly hair even if they actually have straight hair, and they cannot feel happy about that if the media tells them so. That's what's happening in their side of the house, Madam and Mr. Speaker. And this is a harm that we are trying to fix on our side of the house, yet that is something that they still try to not conceal to you. This is why, Madam Speaker, on their side of the house, they have failed in many points, and they have not denied this motion in the first place. This is why we take this debate.
They keep telling us that on how this commercial, what they do is that they make these women feel bad about themselves, because right now there's like a specific standard to which they need to follow in order to become beautiful. Well, number one, it's a problem solution mismatch, because if you want to, if what you're doing is basically you're banning one type of beauty and femininity. Therefore, what you're actually doing is that you're actually making this band of women feel bad about themselves, because right now they don't feel beauty and they don't feel feminine to themselves. That's what you're doing when you're banning, when you ban one type of band of commercial. That's what you're doing to them. You make other people feel bad just because you want other people to feel good. Well, it's a problem solution mismatch. What you should do is that you should increase the number of commercial, like plus size commercial, like curly hair commercial and all, but not banning it. We believe it's a problem solution mismatch coming from side government. Therefore, we already took the debate, right? Okay, I have two issues to this debate. Primarily named companies' right, and also and the second one would be restrict women's choice. On how does it really restrict women's choice? First, our first issue, companies' right? Because they wanted to argue on how you can actually restrict companies' right, restricts companies' right. Because why? Because right now what you are doing is that you force women to abide by the commercial, and that abide by the commercial. An example that they give, an example that they gave was that you cannot commercialize tobacco as good. Well, number one, you need to understand this, that misinformation is never allowed in society. But what commercial does is that it shows what the product does and it promotes the product. We see there's no harm in doing so because it doesn't give wrong information to these people. But secondly, right, by their logic, then we should all ban all types of commercial, because right now commercial mind controls people to buy people's product. Look, if I watch a deodorant, a Nivea deodorant commercial, I would instantly buy Nivea deodorant. Therefore, this commercial needs to be banned because I won't look at any other products. We believe that's abhorrent, because what commercial does is basically promotes their product rather than forcing people to buy their product. That's the flaw of their side. But then again, you need to understand, when does it happen? Like, when does the company's right is restricted? Like, commercial right is restricted. Number one, it's what happens when you ban? Sorry, what happens when you ban is that you take an avenue for this company to promote their product. And we're talking about these cosmetic products and all this stuff in which they rely heavily on this commercial in order to promote their product. Now, what happens then is that you take away a very big avenue avenue for them to promote their product. That's when the products cannot reach to the people. Therefore, you restrict their rights to maximize their profit. And we believe this is particularly bad. But then you need to understand, there are times when government actually restrict it. Number one, when there's misinformation, where you give wrong information to the society. And number two, when you block other people's right to profit, like for example defamation. For example, like Coca-Cola wants to promote its product, it decided to defame Pepsi because it wants to show how great it is compared to Pepsi. We disallowed such thing. But then again, we see in the context that we're saying right now, it doesn't include both of them. But when you ban such thing which doesn't include, you actually restrict this company's right to profit, and we believe that's particularly bad, and the government should never do so. Okay, second issue, right? Before the NPI. No. Okay, you restrict women's choice set, because they wanted to argue on how because right now these women's are surrounded by such commercial that they feel as if that it's bad if they don't take such thing. Number one, we're not restricting at all, because we're not stopping plus size commercial and such. we're allowing it, and we see there's more of such commercial being had. Meaning that there are check and balance within the society. Therefore, that society within the media. Therefore, like the media corporation, like they recognize that this such things also plays a role, and therefore we believe that it's no problem at all. But secondly, right, if you wanted to argue that it limits choice set of the woman, we believe that then let's ban like all the girl groups we know in the world. For example, like Shunyoshide or AKB48, for example, because they set a parameter on how women should act cute or how women should look like. We believe that's a higher gravity of like how women should act, because it directly engage with the society compared to commercial. But they don't want to ban that. We see that's the inconsistency. And second thing, and the next rebuttal to it is that you're actually contradicting with yourself, because right now you're the one who's actively limiting people's choice, because now you're banning certain types. Therefore, you're removing that choice from the people, because people don't know such thing exists. We believe that what happens is that you are the one who actually restrict the women's choice set actively. Any of you? Yes.
Okay, how are we restricting these women's choices if the product actually exists and they can still buy it?
Now, when you actually restrict such like commercial to happen, people won't know that that product actually exists. That's when they don't buy such product. You're restricting women's choice. A lot of times, right? A lot of times, women like they rely on commercial to buy products because they feel better if they look at such commercial before buying such product, because it ensures to them that this product is good. But when you remove such thing, you push an insecure feeling to this woman that, look, I don't know whether or not this product will work. Therefore, you actually remove that choice set from the woman itself. Now, I've told you how companies right, on which our side wins the company's right, because you don't actually harm women in such sense, and also on how if you ban, you actually harm the company's right to gain profit. And I also told you how you actually don't restrict women's choice. But with this product, but actually with this commercial, but actually you're restricting women's choice by banning such commercial. With that, thank you.
I'll be honest when I say I don't really know what government wants. Like, they came up here and they told us that, you know, we just want what's good for women, but they didn't provide any specific sort of analysis or any way how this benefits women at all. So let's look at what they tried to prove, right? So they said that we want women to feel more secure. We don't want women to feel ashamed of themselves. But they didn't tell us how advertisements make women feel insecure. Like, they had amazing leaps of logic where, because you see a woman in a white ad, suddenly you'll think, oh my god, I'm worthless. That's not how advertisements work. In fact, that's not what advertisements are even there for. There's a huge difference between that line of logic and what actually happens, which is, hey, that advertisement makes my skin look white, not that woman's skin is white, therefore I'm worthless. That's like a completely jumping leap of logic, right? But let's say that even if that advertisements make you feel insecure, or that they make you want to have your skin white, right? We don't think that's a problem, because number one, these products work. These products make you feel secure. These products give you security when you don't think that you're beautiful. And therefore, we think that's okay. Because what I argued to you in my speech, and what we told you, is that women, regardless, like since the dawn of time, they don't feel secure. They want to feel wanted. They want to feel attractive by society. So it's not that commercials are not making them feel secure. It's just that commercials are filling a need, just like any product is filling a need. And that's not inherently a bad thing. Number one. But the second problem that we had with them was that they assumed that just because it was a stereotypical norm, suddenly it's something evil. We don't see how that links the train of we don't see how that train of logic flies either, right? Because we think there are certain stereotypical norms which are good. For example, the fitness norm. For example, showering norms. For example, any good norm is like these norms come from somewhere. So the fact that for a person to know that he or she is beautiful in society is just the way society works. Like society likes it if you're healthy and you're beautiful and you don't have all of these imperfections. That's the way society has worked since the dawn of time. If makeup helps you get to what that sort of figure that you want to portray yourself as, because that's what makeup does, it helps portray you the way you want to be portrayed, we think that's extremely fine, right? And we think that advertisements especially are, any advertisements are extremely important to do so. But secondly, they didn't engage with our idea, especially, and this is directly clashing with the idea of women's restricting choices, right? They didn't engage with our idea that they're restricting women's choices. Because the government, by saying that this line of clothing is wrong, we think that's wrong too because you're restricting choices. But secondly, we think that's exactly the opposite of what advertisements want to do. Like, no advertisements ever want to limit the choice of women so that they will, advertisements are explicitly there to inform women how these products work. That's why Nivea will have a huge line. It's not just one, like this, you can only have black hair. No, they have blonde hair, they have red hair, they have green hair, gray hair, whatever hair, right? But those advertisements are there to inform you, and we don't think that's inherently a bad thing, right? We don't see how that argument flies anyway. But thirdly, right, they completely ignored our idea of how companies profit, because ultimately, if a company is not doing any harm in society, it's so important that the government allow them to do however it is they want to make profit, right? Like, for example, McDonald's, we can't suddenly ban them from showing fast food advertisements. Like, we don't completely ban advertisements because we recognize that's an integral part of your business society. Like, if you told L'Oreal suddenly that you can't sell in Malaysia or you can't sell at all anymore, that's almost the same thing as saying that you can't have any more commercial, because it's so integral to how L'Oreal sells its stuff. All right? So what have we told you? We've told you that ultimately the train of logic is completely, out there. But secondly, even if you want to give them the win, we don't see how their logic flies at all, right?
Okay. So first clarification of this motion, because the side might misunderstand. So this motion is not about banning all kinds of advertisement. If it is effective, we can respect it. In this motion, what we are saying is because if that kind of advertisement is promoting stereotype, we're going to ban. This is a clarification. And opposition whip come up and say suddenly there are alternative way or counter plan existence, such as why don't you increase other type of the commercial or so forth. Firstly, too late. Why you have such kind of plan? Why don't you say it from the leader of both? Secondly, there is no mechanism because what they say is just the same. Why don't you increasing? So what kind of situation could be happen? They never explain, never stand on this point. So today's burden of proof of the opposition side is why commercial which promotes stereotype norm is uniquely important for the company or for the advertisement or so forth. They never explain. Because what they say is because advertisement is for showing the effectiveness of the kind of products or so forth. This is why we have to protect. What is the connect or what is the linkage between the commercial which promoting and effectiveness or so forth? They also never explain this point, so they are totally behind on this point. So today, conclude this debate. I have two clashes to talk about. Firstly, about companies' right. I will deal with this point. Secondly, I want to compare the practical consequence. Firstly, companies' right. The leader of both somehow are trying to say that after taking this plan, companies likely to get damaged. But no, because as we told you, we are not banning all kinds of advertisement. If it is not an advertisement which promotes no stereotype, no, they can use it. So because as we clearly told you, the clear line is that because that kind of way is so harmful, we can restrict it. They never engage in this point that they concede because we brought you the more deeper analysis on this point. We took this point. Second crush point, I would compare the both of the paradigm. So first, what we brought you is because of this kind of commercial is giving all the imposing all the people the stereotype mindset because all the people have that beauty or the femininity is a good thing that the women's choice are restricted. This is what we brought you, and because this kind of situation is happening, women are feel oppressed, and women can't choose what they want to do, especially who were affected by this kind of media. That's why under the status quo, women have to take cosmetic surgery even if she don't want to, or even women have to coloring the hair color or so forth. So this is the problem under the status quo. Well, the engagement coming from that side of the house is just rationality. Firstly, what kind of rationality? Well, this is just a rationality existence, so there are no kind of harm existence. How they will not affect it or so forth. Secondly, even if such kind of rationality is truly existence and people can calculate, so if the people can calculate such kind of thing by rationality, why commercial is important? They never explain. Because commercial is a thing that we affect these people and make people think that irrationally choosing that this kind of goods is important for me, and that's why they're going to buy it. But if such kind of people are rationally, we don't need it. The harm which coming from opposition side is that after taking this plan, the poor situation is brought to the women who want to be a beauty or so forth. Yeah, if the women want to become beauty, yeah, we respect such kind of act. Because what we brought you in this motion is that because such kind of choices is based on commercial, we have to restrict it. If the women is choice to become beauty by their own choice, of course we respect such kind of act. And if such kind of women is so rationally, we believe that no commercial is necessary because if she's they are so rationally and they can calculate this kind of situation, you know, without this kind of commercial, they can calculate what kind of product makes them makes more beauty, or they can calculate this kind of situation if they can truly rational. So their harm is never stands. So on this point also we take this point. So for this reason, I strongly believe that we should take this debate. Thank you.
Yeah.